Hello, and welcome to Practical Chaos Podcast. I am your host, Emily, and this is where we're going to delve into those pieces of bad advice given with the best of intentions. Today, we are talking about something that I have lots of feelings about, which is kind of ironic because it's about showing your feelings in the workplace. Now, obviously, this podcast is part of my workspace, and I show lots of feelings here. Now, no, you're not going to see me sitting here crying. One, because I don't upload the video like that, just so if I do start to get emotional, nobody will know. But I digress. So there's this whole notion about showing emotions in the workplace, and that if you do, it's going to cause all sorts of issues and problems. And especially as a woman, I think that this weighs even heavier. Because a man who shows emotion in the workplace, the most common emotion is going to be anger. Anger in the workplace. He's irritated all the time. He's just so angry. But, he's a go-getter, so it doesn't matter. He's just a go-getter. But a woman shows any sort of emotion in the workplace and immediately brings these thoughts to the forefront of people's mind, like, oh my gosh, she was kind of angry today. Do you think she hates her job? She definitely hates her job because she just wasn't in a good mood today, like she normally is. No, maybe I was just tired of smiling like I always do because my face is tired, and this is literally what my face looks like. Resting bitch face is a real thing. It happens, I live with it, and most of the time, I'm here smiling. Smiles. But sometimes my face does get tired and I don't want to smile. Or maybe I'm focused on something, and when I'm focused, I don't have time to sit there and make my face into a smile just because you would like me to look that way. Now, I've worked a lot of customer service jobs, so smiling is a big part of it. So the second you stop smiling, something is seriously wrong. But I think a fake smile looks much worse than if you're sitting there with no smile. I've known a lot of people with resting bitch face who get so many tips as a waitress, or they're the best customer service person you have ever spoken to. Their face, it just makes it look like they hate you, and it's okay. They probably still do. It's fine. Another thing that people think when you are showing emotion at work as a woman, and kind of just in general, is that you can't handle the stress of the job. Now, I am an angry crier, so if I get really mad at you, I'm probably going to cry. And it's really just because my frustration has nowhere else to go except out through my eyeballs. And so now I feel the need to sit here and cry because you have made me so angry. I'm crying over the fact that I can't just throat punch you as hard as I can, because that's what I really want to do when I'm crying like that. It's not that I can't handle the stress. There's more stress, and this is studies, by the way. I did some reading for y'all, and there's some studies that say faking your emotions in the workplace actually leads to more work stress. So, me crying because I'm frustrated, I'm actually probably less stressed than the guy faking his smile over in the parts department who hates his job even more than I hate mine at that moment in time. And guess what? It's okay. Because he decided he just wanted to show up with a smile today. Fine, whatever. It could be fake, it could be real. I don't really care. I, on the other hand, showed up with some tears in my eyes because the guy yelled at me about his truck. And that's a real thing that happened. They also think, especially women, and I think as us women looking at other women as well, is you are so full of drama. Oh my gosh, she cries at everything. Oh my gosh, she always has something to interject. No, maybe she's just really in touch with her emotions. Should she maybe curb it a little bit? Maybe just a little bit, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're always full of drama just because you do have these emotions that you're willing to show within your workplace. And the last and most favorite of my things is going to be that you're way too sensitive. Just stop being so sensitive. Oh my gosh, you're just so sensitive, Becky. Becky, you're just too sensitive. It was just a joke. It's just a joke. You're too sensitive. So you're just too sensitive. And yes, crying at every little thing that happens at work is a little bit excessive. So let's avoid that if we can. But showing a little bit of emotion here and there does not necessarily make you too sensitive. Does it make you a sensitive person? Of course. But the fact that people think that all of this emotion immediately means, oh, you hate your job, you can't handle this high stress situation, you're full of too much drama, or you're just too sensitive, Becky. But all of it is wrong. So it's proven that employees are better when they are showing some sort of emotion, because emotional intelligence is a huge part of everything that we do. But people think that showing these emotions means that you're all of these things that aren't necessarily true. Now, are there people that are going to fall into each of these categories? Yes, of course there are. I can't put a blanket over everything. What I can talk about is my own experience, which is I'm an emotional person. I am very empathetic. I very much like to be part of things. I'm very nosy-rosy, and so I like to be part of things. And I also like to help people, which is kind of part of why I have this podcast, is because I like to talk to people and I like to give people advice, despite the fact that I'm probably more introverted than you would expect. But the best part about all of this is in every position that I've held, for the most part, I have held a position of some sort of managerial position in some sense or another. Like even right now, I hold a lead dispatcher position because of the way that I can talk to people and the fact that I manage people and not positions. And the way I can do that is by showing my employees emotion, by laughing with them, by crying with them, by connecting with them on a level that not everyone is going to. And being able to connect on that emotional level, you actually understand the people you work with better, and you understand how to motivate them. You understand if they are actually having a bad day and need to go home. You understand when to ask that, rather than every time someone looks a little bit grumpy, you're like, oh my gosh, do you just need to go home? No, not necessarily. This is really just my face. I'm kind of just tired today. But then you also know when to look at them and be like, hey, is everything okay? Because everything doesn't look okay. You know, if you need to go home, that's completely okay. You just need to let me know, and then I can make that happen. You know, that's an important thing to be able to say to somebody and to be able to look at them and tell exactly what's wrong with them because you've connected with them on that emotional level. It's an emotional intelligence that I feel every employee should have, but even more so than that, that's what makes your managers, is that emotional intelligence. Those employees that kind of above and beyond show that sort of feeling and ability to not only handle the stress of the position they're put in, but to also kind of take on a little bit of that from their employees, be able to take that off their plate because they can connect with them in a way that not everybody can. And it's actually proven that faking your emotions all the time, so faking being happy all the time at work, actually leads to more work burnout than people who do show their emotions. And like I said previously, it also has been proven to add more stress. So those positions where people do need to kind of put on a show. So positions like you have that really witty and happy flight attendant. And hi, how are you? Oh my gosh, how are you doing? Oh my, what can I get for you? What can I get for you? Oh no, that's okay. Okay now. Okay, bye-bye now. You know, having to act like that all the time, yeah, I know, I'm really good at it, first off. You know, I practice. But having to act like that all the time actually leads to really terrible burnout. You know, you get home off your shift and you're like, oh my gosh, like what is happening to me? Why do I do this every day? The end of your shift comes and you're just so over it. There's nothing else left in you. Because if you put all of your energy and time and emotions into trying to figure out how to smile and talk with a smile, because that's really important too. And this is my phone voice. I use this when I answer the phone. Can you tell? But it's when it comes to being an employee and a manager, it's all about using your emotions wisely, just like with your children. So we've all probably made the joke of, I'm not mad at you, I'm just disappointed. And if you are showing your employees emotions kind of on the regular and you're interacting with them in a way that makes them people and not just employees, then you're definitely going to notice the difference when you tell them things like, hey guys, I'm a little disappointed in how we performed today. I really thought that we could do better. Or I had a manager when I worked in the car business, and he was very motivating. Would I say he was a cheery, bright, super happy guy all the time? No, not necessarily, but he didn't need to be that way all the time. He knew when to put that face on and when to be happy, but then he also knew the times that he needed to really look at us and be like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you guys, stupid? What is happening here? Why would you do that? Why would you do that, Taco Dog? Sorry, my dog's name is Taco because that's what happens when you let a toddler name your puppy. You get a taco puppy, and then she wouldn't come to anything else. So now I have a dog named Taco. The more you know. The more you know, Taco. The more you know, Taco. Oh no, I don't want your face in my face. No. So using your emotions wisely. So making sure that you're just not throwing them all over the place and you're actually using them to kind of be successful. I posed this question to people in a few Facebook groups that I'm in just to kind of see what their answers would be. And one of the best answers that I got was actually from a woman who's a teacher. And she said that she uses her emotions very wisely to help teach her children on, the children that she teaches. She helps use her emotions to help teach them that it's okay to have an emotion. It's okay to show those emotions. And you're allowed to be able to tell people, no, that hurt my feelings. Or, hey, that made me really sad. And she uses anything when she gets emotional to kind of show that to them. The example that she used was that she was watching a movie and it started to make her cry. And so she used that as a really great teaching moment. Now, places where emotions might not be the same would be if you're like a lawyer. Do you want your lawyer crying all the time? No, I would say probably not. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't tell you for sure. If you're a lawyer and you're listening to this, first off, thank you. Because I don't know any lawyers, so you must have just found this on your own and thought that I was something to listen to. Second off, do you feel that using all of your emotions is something good to do? Sorry, my dog is climbing all over me right now. Go lay down, please. Go lay down. But that emotional intelligence is knowing when and how to use your emotions. And so it's really important for us as people to recognize that there are these emotions that everyone's going to feel and everyone needs you to show them as well. Appreciation is an emotion, I feel. And people need to know when they're appreciated. They need to know when they've hurt you. That way they can learn to be better. And so if we're not showing emotions, how are we helping each other be better as people and as employees? I mean, the answer is pretty simple. I don't think that we are. Showing emotion does not equal an unprofessional person. Reducing every emotion that you have is not going to make you look more professional. It's not going to make you come off as a better employee. What it might do is make you come off as kind of a sociopath. Maybe it's a psychopath. I don't really know the difference. I should probably look into that. But, you need to sit there and you need to show your emotions. That way you can sit there and say to other people, hey, listen, that really hurt my feelings. Or like I said before, those are just things that I really appreciate that you did that for me. Thank you so much. That goes a long way with anybody. I made a joke with my employees when I worked in the restaurant is I was told that I had an employee complain who was not a very good employee, that I was not appreciating them enough. And so I would make this joke, not against them, but it was towards my employer when they told me that, because the employee soon after quit, and so they really weren't a problem, and all of my other employees really liked me. But I would walk around and just touch them on the shoulder and say, I appreciate you. As an employee and as a human being, I appreciate you. And I would stare them deep in their eyes. And then we would both laugh because it was just something funny that I did. And, making people laugh and having fun like that at work is also a really important thing and does not necessarily make you unprofessional. Now, when it starts to affect your job performance, then yes, of course, that's going to make you unprofessional because now you're sacrificing your job for a couple of laughs. But, as long as the job's getting done and everything's happening the way it needs to be, why not laugh a little bit? why not connect with the people that you work with? You probably spend more time with them than you do with your own family a lot of times if you work full time. Because all of the time spent with your family is usually spent probably running errands, picking the kids up, going grocery shopping, cooking dinner, doing baths. I need to give my kid a bath tonight. Like, these are all things that are happening that are really important in our lives and are really time consuming. And so why not get to know the people you work with just a little bit better so you can appreciate maybe what their struggles are, or maybe you'll make a new friend. Who knows? I don't make a lot of friends. Your emotions can be a great source of strength. And to just know when to use them is super, super important. Please use those. Use them for the good. Use them for the greater good, because you are a superhero. Use them. I just think it's kind of shitty that women get the short end of the stick. We feel like we can't show emotions, but then I sit here and I tell you to show your emotions. But then you'll walk into work and you'll, get a little teary-eyed at someone leaving for a new job, and your boss is going to now use that against you. Those power plays used against you, you have to know when and where to use your emotions as your own power play in a way. Letting someone sit there and take it, anyone who's going to sit there and use your emotions as a way for them to have the upper hand against you is not worth working with or working for, because that person is only ever going to be out for themselves, which is fine. Like, be out for yourself, improve who you are as a person. But to do that, you don't have to put other people down, and you definitely don't have to sit there and use how they feel against them. That is absolutely ridiculous, and I don't know why anyone would do that. But it happens, and I think it's stupid. And we as women need to understand that we are allowed to have the same emotions in the workplace as men are, and not be called crazy, too emotional, sensitive, stressed out, just because we have specific emotions related to the jobs that we're doing. There is a right and a wrong way to show your emotions, so just remember that when you're going into work. It's probably not the right thing to cry in the middle of the board meeting, unless it was a super inspirational board meeting, then maybe. But just use your emotions to your advantage, because they're one of the strongest things that we as people can express, obviously. Our emotions are who we are, and to be able to share those with other people, I feel is really important. Connecting with other people on a level more than just a, hey, hi, how are you, is really important. So just remember that moving forward, and I think that all of us can make the world just a little bit more emotional in the best sort of way. That's literally all I have for you today. This was a little bit of a harder subject for me to talk about, just because I have worked a lot of different jobs, and within those jobs I have been a manager, and so managing people versus managing the position is really a lot more than I could talk about. And if you guys want, I am more than happy to do an episode more on kind of that side of things versus just emotions in general. Just let me know. Shoot me an email, leave me a message, leave me a comment on this episode, and I am more than happy to use your ideas for future episodes. So, that being said, that is all I have to talk about with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you and everything that you do and listening and supporting me. It's really a big thing for me, and I can't thank you enough. So next week we're going to be talking about being young and having all the time in the world, because I feel like that's the biggest lie that every newly graduated person is told, and so I'm going to go ahead and explore that a little bit further. I'm also going to be releasing a special guest interview episode, so you'll get a 2-for-1, which means I'm going to have to work extra hard to get that all done for you. But I don't care. I love you, so we'll do it. And so next week's episode, you're young and have all the time in the world, and then our special guest interview episode will both be premiering next week, so please keep an eye out for that. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. That does help me help show iTunes and Spotify and Podbean and all those good things that I am a podcast worth listening to, and hopefully if you're listening this far, you'd believe that as well. Also, please don't hesitate to leave me a comment. I do reply to all comments, and I do read all of them, and I appreciate all of your support and any thoughts you might have on this subject as well. All of my subjects are open-ended, and so if you have a different thought or maybe something you want to share with me, please don't hesitate to leave me that comment. You can find all of my social media as well as links to my blog posts and to all of my previous episodes on my website at practicalchaospodcast.com. So please don't forget to head over there and take a peek, check it out, see what you think, and follow me on Facebook for special updates daily. And as always, I love you. Toodles.